And good afternoon, honey. Whatever time you click on this reading is the right time for you, and I thank you in advance for your viewership and support. If you've been rocking with me for a while, then you know this term. It's not new to you. You've been hearing this for probably like maybe a year and a half, at least. So, for those of you that are new, I said that this whole Megan the Stallion thing, the legalities of it, was going to cause people in the industry to come together like Voltron, and that they would rise up and they would all end up working together against her. Well, it looks like Voltron has formed, and it's very intriguing who the members of this elite group are turning out to be. So, if you've been paying attention lately in the blogs and in the press, there's been a lot of conversation around a particular lawsuit that Megan has with a blogger by the name of Milagro from Mob Radio. And this lawsuit has turned into like a wild roller coaster when you think about all of the people who keep getting like sucked in like into like a almost like a black hole, a vortex. This is interesting. Like you've got academics that's been pulled into this, Aiden Ross being pulled into this. At this point, Drake's name has been mentioned. There's been a slight mention of Nicki Minaj. We've got different doctors from the Cedar Sinai Hospital that are all being mentioned now and pulled off into this. We have a lot of different people that work in legislation that are being pulled into this due to different people that work in many facets in MAGA being named in this lawsuit, from Representative Luna to um, MAGA speaker Diana London, who's been a very, very, proud and loud supporter of Tory Lanez and helping him to come home. So now it's to the point to where these people are being legally called to the table in this case, and it's like they're becoming strange allies in a sense, because these are people who possibly would have never been in each other's conversation. Yeah, Ack and Aiden Ross, they're streamers, they're familiar with each other, but a lot of these other people, they wouldn't be in the same conversation. Like Ack, only would be in this conversation because he does commentary on music, and he helps labels and artists to advertise their brands. So it's getting very, very intriguing about how this is turning up and turning out. So let me go ahead and pick a deck so that I can tap into the energy around how this is going to work out with Voltron now forming. Alrighty. So now that Voltron is formed, let's see what's going on, y'all. Okay, so Two of Pentacles. Um, wow. So you have the Five of Swords here, which is conflict and communication and juggling. So this is going to be very interesting because there's some gray areas here that need clarifying, because people are trying to figure out what is the main purpose and the whole idea behind what's going on here. Okay, Nine of Wands, the Wounded Warrior. Yeah, this is something surprising is about to come out. Because you got it's like a 50-50 chance here with something peculiar. I don't even know how to explain it more than that. Hold on. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to fix my camera angle so that you can see more of what's going on the table. Okay, so 50-50 situation with the Wounded Warrior. Gray area around the Wounded Warrior. Oh, baby. Um, a lot of people are up in their head, very, very stuck on this situation. And it's like somebody's facing jail time, or it's like maybe being suggested that somebody should face jail time. Ten of Wands, which is like a very heavy burden, too heavy to carry. So, Page of Cups, bottom of the deck. I think Megan may have bit off more than she can chew in a short period of time. She may be sorry that she assembled this group of people. Why would this be something that could be chaotic for her, please and thank you? Unrequited offer, the Four of Cups. Four of Cups falling under the Wounded Warrior is some crazy work, baby. Um, Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck, which is a very, very interesting energy to pull because Seven of Swords represents underhanded, backdoor energy tactics, being strategic, not being quite forthright about certain things. Okay, so yeah, it's like once the truth comes out about either someone in jail, it's like this truth could also cause someone to go to jail. So this is going to be, oh wait, this is going to be very, 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 very dramatic the way that things change. I don't think anybody sees what's about to happen here. Okay, so Palace of Wands. Palace of Wands represents, um, either an entity, a company of some sort that is very, very highly publicized, very well known before the rest of the world. And it's like, if this is Rock Nation, this is really, really, really going to be a hard, you know, gut punch. Could even be a knockout blow. It could set them off kilter because it's like they're already juggling to keep the balance. The Ten of Wands, they have too much on their plate. They can't afford anything else happening. Okay. So, okay, we got the High Priestess here with the Seven of Wands. Secrets around a situation that can involve self-defense. Definitely secrets. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Secrets around self defense, secrets around the defense. Yeah. All I can tell you is somebody's coming out and somebody's going in. Because this is federal prison. And I don't think anybody sees this coming. This will be the ultimate mic drop for 2025. Okay? And 2025, honey, has been pop, lock, and dropping on us like she got the best knees ever. So, whoo wee. Okay, let's go. What is this truth that can get somebody locked up or free somebody that's locked up? What is this truth? Okay, so you got the devil here, which means that there are maleficent things at work here. Even someone obsessing over the truth coming out about something that happened with some lovers. There's a message that's going to come out about something that happened with some lovers. Okay, it has to do with someone that's in prison. And this is going to be very, very swift. Ace of Wands, very, very aggressive. Three of Wands, it's like Three of Wands represents the ships coming in. Also, like your chickens coming home to roost. So, someone got opportunities, or opportunities were, provided through some kind of maleficent type of, you know, um, arrangement, allegedly. Um, mm, King of Coins. King of Coins can represent, like, not just a father figure or an older person, but possibly a financier, someone who is responsible for bringing things together. Tell me more about this person who made money off of this situation and the way that it panned out, because there somebody literally, it's like they can go from, King Midas to robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's the way this energy could flip. The moon. Okay. So, yeah, if this has to do with whatever comes out and how it's going to affect Rock Nation, there are two very prominent people that could be knocked off their axis when whatever this is comes out. And the lovers not only represents, two people that are lovers, it also represents collusion, working very, very close together, working in tandem. Queen of Coins, falling under the High Priestess. Ooh-wee. Ten of Pentacles. Man, oh man, oh man. I said from the very beginning, this case was not going to turn out the way people thought it was. It's not going to happen the way people think it is. It looks very strong in one direction now, but as strong as it looks in that direction now, it's going to look even stronger in the other direction if there's this, whatever this truth is, if this truth can make it to the light of day, it's going to literally flip everything upside down. Okay, so Nine of Swords. There's a lot of anxiety around this case, a lot of sleepless nights. Um, Tell me how this affects Voltron, okay? Because, like I said, none of these people would really be in um, each other's space, so to speak. Like, this is forcing people to get to know each other better, because it's like an enemy of my enemy is now my enemy, if that makes sense. So if these people would have never talked to each other, would have never had relations, would have never, been in the same places at the same time, would have never gotten to know each other, now they're going to be on equal playing field because they have a common denominator, which is Megan. Faith. Okay? faith falling under the moon. So baby, they over here hoping, wishing, and praying. Um, as far as whoever is working with and for Megan, they're hoping that, everything pans out. Ten of coins, the chariot, so that they can move on. Um, but this is what Megan doesn't see. Feeling betrayed. Six of Swords. The moment people feel like this situation is toxic, they're going to move on from this business venture with you. And baby, in the wind, the chariot is a force to be reckoned with, because it's like a locomotive. Once it's going, going, gone, you can't stop it. So whatever this is, I promise you on everything. Our very first panel that we did on this show, tarot panel, we saw that when that other shoe drops, they're going to drop you, and you're going to call, and that call is not going to go through. And that energy is becoming very, very prevalent when it comes to Rock Nation and whoever is helping to manage her career. Everything right now is like there's a 50-50 chance. People are holding their breath. They're waiting to see how this is going to pan out. They have faith that it's going to work out, because things usually work out for them. But something in the air feels a little different this time. Yeah, so you've got the Magician here, which is a master manifester, Queen of Cups. And Queen of Cups is a water sign. So, so baby, this water sign is going to pull a rabbit out her hat. And it's not going to be expected. It's one of those follow your intuition type things. And the intuition ends up leading to what is like the holy grail of information. Also, this is like right now, expect a huge marketing push, a huge, social media campaign that's going to show the softer side of Megan. It's going to show her as a more loving, compassionate person. They're going to try to push this as much as possible up until the court date, or the trial rather. Four of Pentacles. And it's like, okay, so you've got someone on the ropes here, and it's like, it's expected for this to work out in Megan's behalf. She wants to have Milagro, very, very upset and unbalanced and worried about her financial stability. And like I said, usually when it comes to Rock Nation, they get their way. They usually get what they want. Okay, hold on. Let me cover this up, because y'all know how YouTube go with these little tarot titties. All right, so the star here, which, represents the Aquarius, they've got hope, they've got faith that all of this is going to work out. You know, King of Cups feel very deeply in their emotions about this situation, but they're refraining from speaking on it. Nobody is being allowed, as far as like company liaisons, allegedly, to have an opinion publicly on this. They're, mum's the word. They're going to stay mute on this situation, but they have hope and faith that this is going to work out in their behalf. They feel like, they're going to be able to get Milagro to pay out whatever this judgment is. That's the assumption. But then out of nowhere, the world, everything stops. Cycle comes to a close. And they figured that her paying out was going to be how the cycle was coming to a close. But tell me what closes this cycle. Hangman. Hangman. Wait a minute. Something pops up unexpectedly that has the whole entire case stand still. Everybody's on bated breath. This was not expected. This was totally not expected. Okay, so the Fool. So they may want to take a leap of faith and just close this case out and cancel it once this information comes out, or just right then and there, morality clause, drop. We're done. We're out of here. Nothing else to see here. Oh, this is whatever this is powerful, because you don't have a company like this that just backs down. It's not what they do. Queen of Cups ends up with stability. What is this hiding down here? What they don't see? The Tower, and something else hiding. For those of you that are new to me, I don't just read what hits the table. I read as I shuffle. So stability, the King of Wands, the Tower. Baby, this is about to rock everything at its axis. And it's all connected to this water sign that Megan thought was going to have to pay her. Okay, so this gives balance through a new beginning. Ten of Cups, Temperance, to the family. And I'm going to say Voltron, because the Ten of Cups represents all these people that are being strung together in this case. So now Voltron has the upper hand. Palace of Coins. And it's like, this opulent company, that this wealthy company expected that they were going to move forward victoriously. Eight of Pentacles, everything was going to work in their favor. But Page of Coins, that's a new change of plans. Page of Coins is like, this causes a whole new can of worms, a whole new keg of nails to open up. Heartbreak attached to a judgment. Okay, so they expected heartbreak to come to a judgment to this Queen of Cups. But you got judgment here. Temperance ends up being a balance through a new beginning, where she gets to walk away from this, and somebody wants to wave the white flag. Knight of Cups. How so, Sway? Oh shit now. How did we get here? Yeah, somebody might want to apologize when this information comes out, and it's like counter offer, or offer the olive branch. Like, this is a total reversal of attitude and everything. So whatever this information is, um y'all, this changes everything. Closes a cycle between her and, you know, Rock Nation and whomever she's doing business with. And it's like it's going to happen really, really fast, because there's a lot of confusion around this situation. This is not what people expected. This is not what people thought was happening or was going to happen. It's like, this is going to shake the social media streets. People are going to be like, wait a minute, what? Hold on. I was sitting down here, and then this came out, and then this came out, and wait a minute, what really happened? And I can't believe this. Like, this is going to really, really, really confuse people and shake the table. Okay, King of Wands, Justice, Two of Cups. So it feels like, there can be some energy around justice coming for a fire sign attached to people colluding. Who who do you remember telling you that 2.5 years ago? If you think you've heard that somewhere before, put some hands in the chat. Somebody give me one of those, little waving hands, or one of those me. If you can remember where you heard that from, let me know where you heard that from before, like 2.5 years ago. Yeah, King of Coins falling under the Page of Cups. Yeah, she's gonna go to Megan's gonna go from having all of this support to not being able to access people that have been very pivotal in helping her to move things forward, and it's gonna happen really, really fast. Um, like I said, confusion, Seven of Cups, around a conflict in communication or conflicting reports and communications. So, mm, crazy how this works. And it's like, yeah, it's weird because all of these people who are being accused of certain things, it's like they're all doing their research and all finding different things. They're not all finding the same information. Their lawyers are not all finding the exact same information. There are things at its core that they're finding that are very similar, but all of them are like dumpster diving through her business, through her life, and they're all finding different information. Nobody is finding the same stuff, but it looks like the stuff that they're finding is A1. So, with them being accused of certain things, it's like it's very intriguing how people are now becoming allies that may have never, talked to each other before, may have never associated with each other before. No matter how they know of each other, these people wouldn't have been in the same circles, the same conversations, not to this degree. Tree of Life falling under the world. Um, get ready for the infrastructure of Rock Nation to start imploding and collapsing between, I want to say, late October to November into spring of next year. It's just going to be like watching a spiritual demolition crew come in and boom, this shut down. Boom, this shut down. Boom, this shut down. Boom, losing a whole lot of your clients. Boom, losing pivotal sponsorships. Boom, no longer can work with this company. Boom, kicked out of this contract for morality clause and reputational risk. It's going to come back to back to back. Scandal after scandal, loss after loss until they are no more. And a huge part of this, like I said, is Voltron forming together. All of these different people, all of these different lawyers are all doing their research and they're all finding different things. I don't think this would have happened the way that it's happened if Megan hadn't have been so hard-headed and not letting certain things go. So, in the words of the great Kenny Rogers, honey, sometimes you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them, because it looks like everything is folding around her like lawn chairs. Okay, so There's going to be a lot of conflict, a lot of arguing. Um, Page of Coins, and it's so weird because this started out so small. It's like planting the seed, and then you come back and find out that seed grew into a tree, and now that tree has taken up, half the land. And who would have known that this would have been, like this? It was never expected to turn into a huge thing. This was supposed to just be a simple lawsuit, in and out, no big deal, you know, get what you want, done, move on. That's that. And this is totally not that. Expect a lot of information to come up from the past. Here's that federal prison card again. And this is going to be public. The people will see this. This is not going to be, one of those behind the scenes type, sweep it under the rug, Olivia Pope things. This is going to unfold in front of people's eyes in real time. The revolution might not be televised, but baby, it will be on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, X, you name it. It's TikTok. Social media will be reporting on this. This will be widely spread throughout social media. And eventually it's going to go from social media to the Associated Press. Because now the Associated Press is, they're starting to lose to social media. So if it picks up in social media, please believe it, the Associated Press is not going to be left out on this. And just like that, 9 of Coins, you're going to be by yourself, Megan. The Hermit, the Knight of Swords, like, very, very pivotal people are going to ghost her. So it's like the energy that Milagro started in, where people, were pretty much shitting on her name. They were, ghosting her, betraying her, leaving her for like internet dead. That energy is going to shift, and it's going to be very interesting to see it happen on the opposite side. Yeah. So yeah, Voltron is going to turn this around. This situation is going to go in a new direction. Strength, baby, they're not letting up. They're not letting up. It's all gas, no brakes. You picked a group of people that are like, oh, okay. Like, you bitches want to dance, you playing my song. Everybody is buying these wolf tickets. It will be a sold out affair. So this is not what was expected. And now that Rock Nation and Megan are, putting things on docket, they're putting things on the record, they're taking people to court. These people are ready for war. And this was not expected. The Hermit, the Ace of Coins. So yeah, it's like, right now, yeah, Milagro is, being forced into like sanctions and things of that nature. But it's the energy is going to switch up, because now Megan is going to end up being stuck in this situation by herself. She's going to have to figure out, what's the best way to get out of this without whatever the assistance is that's been coming to her aid to help her with this case. And then that's going to trickle back to the cases with Rock Nation. Rock Nation is not going to be able to get out of all these cases the way that they used to. It's going to be trial after trial, case after case, loss after loss. They're going to start to be held accountable in a court of law for things that they would have usually had dismissed in the past. Because remember what I said, Voltron, all of these different people, they're fighting back. Nobody expected any of these people to fight back. Academics, like, kudos to him. The way that he held it down in that 7 hour deposition, he really, really, really showed the weakness in Megan's legal team. So this is not what they expected. This is not what anybody saw coming. You're going to have some very, very high powered law offices and some very high end legal representation that is going to, rival the whole Brian Steele situation with the YSL trial. Like, these lawyers are going to go for gold, okay? They're going to make careers out of this. They're doing this to make an example, to turn their law firm into like network gold. It's like, this is advertising you can't buy. This is, oh wow. So they plan on making some really, really, really major examples out of Megan and Rock Nation. And y'all, all I can tell you is to expect some very high end, powerful secrets and some allegations to start coming out. And some of this stuff, it's going to seem very outlandish, very, very strange, but it's going to start unearthing some things that are very true. So I'm going to end this here so that I can have this up for you. But yeah, Voltron has officially formed and they're fighting back. And these people are not taking the L. They're not going to just allow you to just, you know, treat them as doormats, to, make them examples of what can happen to you if you don't comply with what we want you to do. They're coming for war. This is Sparta. This is Leonidas against the Persians. Y'all, we're about to see what people look like when they're no longer afraid of the machine. And this is something that the machine never expected, that one day there would be an uprising. And those who are part of the uprising are actually going to become a part of the winning circle. So this is my tap in on Voltron has formed. And I thank you all for your viewership and support. I thank you for, coming over here and just, being a part of the family. So, y'all, I'm going to get you as much content as I can. So, expect, as many uploads as I can get to you while I have the moment. And this is, Voltron has officially formed. Y'all, this is about to be a really, really, really strange uprising that's going to cause the rest of the industry to have a backbone. Until next time, y'all. Bye-bye.